Good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Luke Stevens, and we are coming at you live from the red carpet of the 19th Annual Ashland Independent Film Festival Awards Night. The stars and filmmakers are arriving, and I believe I see my dear friend and AIFF's Managing Director, Erica Thompson. Erica, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Jonathan. Thank you.
You look absolutely stunning. Now, question. This year, the film festival had to be completely online, correct?
That's right. The pandemic really started to get serious in our region about less than 2 months prior to the live festival we've been planning for months. So we were thankfully able to find a way to still bring it to our audiences in a way that was safe for everyone.
And now I hear that you actually are to thank for a large part of the success of this virtual festival. Can you talk to us about what that was like making that transition this year?
Well, it really speaks to our team. We work with a small staff, and everybody was just incredibly resilient and nimble in making the switch online. You know, we really just took account of all of our members, sponsors, donors we had to take care of, and our filmmakers, of course, and everyone worked really hard, pulled out all the stops, and made the switch really rapidly.
Beautiful, wonderful work. And one last question before you go. Who are you wearing? I mean, it just looks marvelous.
Thank you. This is actually an E.T. original from the spring collection.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you, Eric, and I'll see you inside.
Thanks.
Have a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Herskowitz, the Executive and Artistic Director of AIFF. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm feeling great. Actually, Jonathan, relieved. We pulled it off, our first virtual festival.
You did, you did. Speaking of that, what was it like choosing the titles this year for the film? I mean, I've been watching, and they've just been so wonderful. What was it like, that selection process?
Well, you know, we got close to 1,000 submissions, and I have a great team of about 25 screeners and programmers that waded through these, narrowed them down to about 250 that I looked at myself. Those were hard to choose from, and ultimately a program of 100 that I'm very, very proud of.
Wow, well, it's been absolutely incredible. And now, I don't know if you can say this or not, but is there a favorite you might be rooting for tonight?
I do have favorites, but I'm keeping them to myself. I've had to stay impartial through all this. I love all the filmmakers involved in the festival. I also know who the jury winners are, and I can't tell you those either because we want to maintain the suspense for our audience out there.
Well, I certainly understand, and I guess we'll just have to wait. Anyway, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you, Richard, and we'll see you inside.
Okay, great.
All right, have a wonderful night. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the star of the Bloody Silver Screen, and our host tonight,
Hello.
Mr. Bruce Campbell.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing? You look wonderful. I love
Thank
that
you.
jacket.
Thank you.
So, now, you are an Oregon resident, is that correct?
I am an Oregonian, yeah. For 2 decades, I've lived in this fine, fine state.
Wow, and now, as an Oregonian, you've been quite an advocate for Southern Oregon and Oregon filmmaking, is that correct?
I made one movie here about 10 years ago, and I intend to make more because it's a beautiful state. I don't know if you've seen it.
Just a bit.
Yeah, but you know, the coastline is amazing. The Cascades are unbelievable, rivaling any other mountain range. And the high desert is great for Westerns. So here we go.
You have every bit that you need.
Yeah!
Well, that's one. And okay, and 2 more questions just before you go, because I know you got to get inside.
Yeah.
This is your first time hosting, and are you nervous?
No, but yes.
All right. Well, actually, you actually should be inside. You're late. I'm sorry.
Keep your distance.
Oops, sorry. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The Ashland Independent Film Festival Awards Night.
Greetings and welcome to the 19th Annual Ashland Independent Film Festival Awards Night. I want to thank all the filmmakers who stuck with the Ashland Independent Film Festival when the physical festival in April became a virtual festival in May. Also, hats off to the amazing staff and board that pulled off this huge pivot. And I want to thank all the sponsors and members who continued to support AIFF when the live event was canceled in April, including the presenting sponsors: Ashland HomeNet and Project A, Coming Attractions Theaters, JPR, Ashland Springs Hotel, and Rogue Creamery. I'm honored to be giving out the jury awards and $10,000 in cash prizes tonight to some of the filmmakers whose works were selected for the festival. All the filmmakers are winners, though, since their films were among the mere 100 films chosen from nearly 1,000 submissions. So my own history with the Ashland Independent Film Festival: I love independent films, I always have. I screened a movie I made, My Name is Bruce, here a few years ago. This is the 19th version of Ashland Independent Film Festival, but the first virtual festival, and here we are.
Woo! 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 I love you, Bruce!
Thanks. Thanks, person.
Fan.
Yeah.
Biggest fan, right?
Thanks. Keep your social distance.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay. Thank you. We'll just try and keep it moving here. My first virtual hosting, so you'll have to be chill here.
Of course, of course.
Tonight we'll be presenting the special awards given to AIFF 2020's 4 honorees, recipients of the Pride, Rogue, Indie Institution, and James Blue Awards. We'll also be presenting the jury awards for the best short and feature-length documentaries and dramatic narratives. At the end of the night, festival directors Richard Herskowitz and Erica Thompson will announce this year's audience awards voted on by festival viewers. To get things rolling, I'd like to introduce our special musical guests, Jeff Pevar and Inger Jorgensen. Jeff is a guitarist, composer, and producer who has brought his unique style on stage and into the studio with such renowned artists as Ray Charles, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Bette Midler, and many more. Inger Jorgensen is a singer, painter, and sculptor who performs with Jeff and co-hosts their popular monthly house parties at the Stone House in Ashland.
Thank you, Bruce. It is so wonderful to be here again. We were here opening night, and so honored to be back.
We're going to play a song from our latest CD. It's the title track. It's called Anthem. Hope you guys enjoy it.
In the stone the answer lies, gilded with the stars. Have you searched for what's unknown, and have you found it? Nothing is more alive than when I look into your eyes, and I see a million years. Voices whisper in my ear, yeah. Now is the time for everything. Don't you let it pass you by. Now is the time for everything. Now is the time for everything. Don't you let it pass you by. It is the rising of the myth, the renaissance of time. Are you sovereign for the shift, building prisms in the mind? Celebrate your passion, elevate your life, for the blessed unrest tells the story of the time. Now is the time for everything. Don't you let it pass you by. Now is the time for everything. Now is the time for everything. Don't you let it pass you by. Know the space between the notes. Pay attention to the heart. Be the architect of love, so that bridge it won't fall apart. Your voice is my anthem. Can you hear Saint Valentine? Your voice is my anthem. We haven't got much time. You Don't you let it pass you by. Now is the time for everything. Don't you let it pass you by.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Welcome and enjoy your night.
Our first award is funded by the Equity Foundation, the brainchild of a longtime festival supporter, Emily Simon. Emily is a Portland and Medford criminal justice attorney who has dedicated her professional career to fighting for the rights of juveniles against oppression. She created both the AIFF Pride Prize, given to an emerging student filmmaker whose film advances LGBTQ awareness, and the Pride Award, given to an established and important LGBTQ filmmaker. Barbara Hammer, Jenny Olson, Zachary Drucker, and B. Ruby Rich were the first of these awardees. Now let's go to Emily Simon, who will present the Pride Award to Tom Kalin.
Thank you very much, Bruce. It feels a little bit strange to be giving this award to Tom Kalin via Zoom when we have, for the other 4 awards, we've had the pleasure of getting to meet each other and really spend quality time together. But I do think, Tom, that I get a sense of who you are from the variety of what is in your movies and the variety of the way in which you've used cinema for various social causes that you and I both have lived through. And even from our short conversation that we've had, your passion for not ending and your passion for going forward with wherever this trajectory of queer culture and queer history takes us is evident to me. And it makes me so happy and so proud, as it were, to be able to give you the 5th Pride Award that AIFF has distributed to a filmmaker. And I really can't let this moment go without commenting that I am so sorry that I have not gotten to see your television show, which is the next thing up, the documentary that will be on FX that profiles our Profiles in Courage. So it profiles the gay and lesbian, queer, transgendered history that we have by exemplifying individuals and their stories. Because without individual stories of our people, of our history, then indeed we are sometimes left without any history, which is a very sad place to be. So for brightening all of our lives, Tom, with bringing out histories of people, complicated people, people who are not heroes, people like Leopold and Loeb, who are just as complex and screwed up and down as the rest of us, for bringing those people forward, not particularly them, but everybody else that you've ever profiled. And for doing that for more years than maybe most of us have, Tom, I want to personally thank you for the work that you've done. And I'm really honored, thrilled, and delighted to give you this prize. And my only sadness in it is that I have to do it over Zoom and I didn't get to actually meet you and give you a hug.
Oh, well, Emily, it's an incredible honor, and I thank you. I'm incredibly honored to be recognized by the Pride Award and by your words here, which are incredibly moving. I'm sad too that we're not having the opportunity to have a drink and to break bread together and spend some days in lovely Ashland, but I'm hoping that that's something that can happen again in the future. And that it was special talking to you about our shared interest in the law. And I learned a lot as a non-legal mind, making a movie about a famous legal case that really impacted the history of LGBTQ people in the United States. I learned a lot from the process of making the film, and I take it to heart, sort of that lesson as a storyteller, but also as a citizen, about the importance that we play in the society as people that can bring change in our day-to-day lives and in the lives of those that we are friends with, or our loved ones, or the people that we might marry, but also in the bigger bigger society at large as citizens. We have an election coming up that seems incredibly defining for our country, and so impactful for the queer community to vote, to get Donald Trump out of office, to put it in the most simple terms. And I feel hopeful about that moment. I've been very excited and pleased to see what Richard and his team at the festival have pulled off by making this festival become, a digital festival. They're at the vanguard. They're one of the very first festivals to transfer entirely digitally. And I think that the community building and empowering part of that is really beautiful. It's brought people together, and, people spend the whole year anticipating this festival. It's such a beloved event. So I think it was a great thing to bring us all together. And I'm super thrilled that it makes it really special that this is the year, actually, I get to be involved. You'll make it especially memorable. But, it's always a goodbye, or an ending is always the start of another, a new beginning. And so hopefully this brings us to a new way of connecting as the festival moves forward, and will provide an opportunity for me to come meet you in person and maybe bring the Pride episode that I did. It's actually the series for FX is called Pride, very fitting for this award. So yeah, I'm thrilled. Thank you so much. I'm an incredible company. I mean, look at the 4 people have gone before me. Whoever you follow up better be amazing. And I thank you so much. And I raise a glass to you in appreciation, and to the festival and all the organizers of the festival for their hard work, and all the filmmakers for their dreams, and putting them on screen, and making the world a better place through telling stories. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
My pleasure.
Thank you very, very much.
Of course, my pleasure, totally.
Our first jury award will be for the Best Documentary Short. This award comes with a cash prize of $1,000.
Okay, Bruce, you are one hell of
Yeah.
a generous guy. I mean, only Bruce Campbell would give $1,000 of his hard-earned money to a struggling filmmaker.
I appreciate that you think I'm that generous. Actually, all the prize money tonight comes from festival supporters who contributed to AIFF's Kickstarter campaign last fall. Here are the names of the Kickstarter supporters who contributed expressly to our jury award fund. And we want to additionally thank the 140 other Kickstarter donors whose contributions helped to boost this fund. Jurors for the documentary shorts category were Mary Fessenden, director of Cornell Cinema, the film exhibition program at Cornell University since 1996. Louis Messiah is an award-winning documentary filmmaker and the founder-director of Scribe Video Center in Philadelphia. Brian Newman is a consultant on film distribution and marketing, a film producer, and former CEO of the Tribeca Film Institute. Let's look at this year's nominees for Best Documentary Short. Each jury awarded a first prize and also a special recognition for excellence awarded in every category. Special jury recognition for excellence in documentary short film production goes to Ashes by Taylor Reese. The jury said the following.
Ashes to Ashes is the intertwined stories of two artists, Dr. Shirley Whittaker on a mission to memorialize over 3,000 victims of racialized murder, and Winfred Rambert, who's preserving a personal history so that it, quote, never, never fades away. This extraordinary short documentary is about the process of creating and the power of art to reconnect us with a history that's been buried.
Congratulations, Ashes to Ashes. The jury's top prize for Best Documentary Short goes to a film made in Portland, Oregon, Giants. As many of you know, I'm a big booster of Oregon film production, so it's a kick to see one of our own grabbing this award. Here's what the jury wrote. Giants tells a timely story of a neighborhood taking action and having an impact, and does so with artistry and originality. We found the film inspiring. I'd like to welcome to the stage director Luz Carraza. Hello, Luz, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you very much.
Joining us here today. Now, you know that you not only get this fabulous piece of work here, the statuette designed by Denny DeBay, you will also receive $1,000 courtesy of the festival's Kickstarter community. So $1,000 and a fancy little award. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Thanks so much. Thanks so much to the jury for this award. I'm totally honored to receive it.
Let me ask you, I always wonder with filmmakers, as a filmmaker myself, where did you get the money to make this?
Oh, this film, there wasn't much money involved in it. And that's why I also want to thank all the people that participated in it, because it was a lot of effort that everybody put in. And there was basically no budget for it. So it was just
$1,000. What are you going to do next? What's your next film?
What I'm thinking, like, this encouraged me to make more films. So I think I'm going to use that money to start the next one.
Good plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Luz.
Thanks so much.
Our second special award goes to an indie institution. Each year, AIFF honors independent film distributors and production companies who are responsible for building the economic infrastructure that supports independent filmmakers. Our Indie Institution awardee is the distributor Strand Releasing and its co-founder Marcus Hugh. We're going to hear now from B. Ruby Rich, the recipient of last year's Pride Award, who will present the Indie Institution Award to Marcus Hugh.
Marcus, it is such a pleasure to be presenting you with this award on behalf of the Ashland Independent Film Festival, the Indie Institution Award, for you, John, and Strand Releasing. You have been responsible for bringing to the world some of my favorite films of all time, and certainly of the past 30 years. You and Strand have impeccable taste. You've got an eagle eye for what is important in cinema. You and John have managed to figure out how to stay afloat while all of these companies bigger than you have fallen by the wayside. And I think it's because you've always remained true to that youthful passion. I don't know, you must have been 12 when you started this company, but true to this youthful passion that led you to start distributing the films you loved, and that really have enabled you to put together this family of filmmakers, curators, and art houses and museums that will show a film simply because Strand is releasing it. People like me, critics and audiences that will go to see whatever the new films are that you have found for us. Your taste is great, your friendships are great, and because of Strand, the world of cinema for 30 years has been richer and will hopefully continue to grow and will continue to just dazzle us with the pleasures from Apichatpong, Catherine Breillat, Francois Ozon, Fatih, Lucrecia, all of these people who adore you as much as I do. With that, Marcus Hugh, Strand Releasing, the Indie Institution Award for 2020. Thanks, Marcus.
Hey, Ruby. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, Richard, and the Ashland Film Festival for this really prestigious award. John and I started Strand Releasing 30 years ago, and, you know, I don't think we ever really expected, you know, the kind of collection of films and filmmakers that we'd be working with. I don't know that we ever kind of knew that we were going to, you know, have such an amazing, you know, eclectic and wonderful family of filmmakers and artists working with us, you know, over these past 30 years. It's been such an honor to actually work with them and present their films. You know, I feel like we are curators in some sort of way, and over those 30 years, you know, we built up a, you know, a great library, but that library is really because these filmmakers have supported us by going with us and allowing us to handle their films. I have to say, you know, it's the festivals, it's the theaters, it's exhibition. And in this really tough time, you know, I hope that we get back on track, that festivals and theaters are able to recuperate from the kind of devastation that's happened with, you know, a lot of these organizations and the funding and all that. So, you know, all I can say is, you know, let's keep on going, and it's really an honor, and I don't know what else I can say, but, you know, I don't know if there'll be a 40th anniversary for Strand, but, you know, I am so thrilled with the piece that we had, the 30/30 program, and I hope you've enjoyed that as well. And I hope you've enjoyed our many movies that we've been able to present to audiences at your festival and other festivals around the world. Thank you, and it's an honor. And on behalf of John and Strand Releasing, I accept this award. Thank you.
Our second jury award is for the Best Narrative Short. The jurors for this award were Dan Brawley, who's the executive director of Cucaloris, an international celebration of filmmaking in Wilmington, North Carolina. Masami Kawai is a Los Angeles-born filmmaker and assistant professor of cinema studies at the University of Oregon. We also had Luis Rodriguez, who produces a wide range of work through his production company, Louis G Films, including Gary and Annie Lundgren's Phoenix, Oregon.
Bruce, we don't need a jury. You've got better taste than anyone. You should pick the winners.
Thank you. Thanks, I appreciate that. Folks, the CDC said we could have one fan in the room, so that's the good news. Bad news is it's him. But we'll get past this. Let's look at the films in competition for the jury award for Best Narrative Short. The special jury recognition for excellence in narrative short production goes to Pizza Party by Tessa Hope Slovis. Here's what the jury had to say.
The jury recognizes Pizza Party for its bold filmmaking that confidently balances humor and the gravity of sexual assault. This courageous film, which is grounded in the humanity of survivors, gives us hope in collective action.
And now for the jury award for Best Narrative Short. The winner is Fort Irwin by Quinn Else. The jury made this statement. The jury recognizes Fort Irwin for its ambitious exploration of a veteran's healing process through his participation in a soldier's training exercise. The film works on multiple levels to provide the audience with insight into the dedication of our veterans. And a bold choice, the filmmakers cast a non-professional actor who brings the real weight of his experience to the screen. Here to accept the award is the director, Quinn Else. Hello, sir. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
As an actor, I know that it's a real dance working with directors. Now, you chose a person who's not a professional actor. What was your approach with regard to that?
I think it's just trying to make the actor as comfortable as possible at all times. Generally gets the best results for everyone.
In these military training scenarios, they're playing out a scripted scenario, right, to help the other soldiers learn about what to do in a certain scenario, right?
Yeah, I mean, the actors are. A lot of the times the soldiers are thrown into scenarios that they have no idea.
They don't know what's going to happen, but the actors do. And now, what's your next project?
I recently directed a short horror film that should play on TV in October about forensic sculpting.
Now, let me ask you, is there somebody that you need to give a shout out to? Because I know these movies are very tricky to make. You're asking a lot of favors. Who do you have to thank?
I'd like to thank, first and foremost, the Ashland Film Festival for the award. It's an honor to be a part of the festival. There are so many entertaining and socially conscious films. I'd also like to thank the American Film Institute Conservatory for helping develop the film and introducing me to my classmates, Mark Tarksali, Ben Long, I-Ching Yu, and Abraham El Rahed, who are the key creative collaborators on the film. Thank you to the employees of the Fort Irwin National Training Center for letting us enter your world. I'd also like to thank my family. And most importantly, I'm excited to share this award with our main actor, Christian Valet, who really was the heart and soul of the film. Thank you. And thank you, Bruce.
You bet. Well, congratulations, and here's to the next fine effort that you got coming down the chute. Much luck to you. Our third special award is the second annual James Blue Award, given to an emerging filmmaker whose first or second feature reflects the social and artistic values of the late Oregon-born and raised filmmaker and teacher James Blue. James Blue's nephew, Dan Blue, is here to present this year's James Blue Award to Garrett Bradley.
Thanks, Bruce. Good afternoon. I'm Dan Blue, Secretary of the James and Richard Blue Foundation, also known as the James Blue Alliance. I'm very pleased to present today the second AIFF annual James Blue Award to Garrett Bradley and her feature film Time. That film was scheduled to play in the physical Ashland Independent Film Festival in April. Garrett provided two of her amazing short films, America and Alone, for this virtual festival, and will screen Time in Ashland when the film is released later this year through Amazon Films. The James Blue Award was established to honor an emerging director of documentary or narrative feature films whose work exemplifies the values of my uncle, James Blue. James Blue's work addressed complex issues of social justice and social political change. James Blue grew up in Portland, graduated from the University of Oregon, went to film school at EDEC in France, and among many extraordinary accomplishments in his short 50 years, which included receiving the Cannes Critics Prize and an Academy Award nomination, was his direction of the classic civil rights documentary, The March. This is on the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. That film, which includes the best recorded footage of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, was one of the first films selected for preservation in the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress. Garrett Bradley's feature documentary, Time, is one of the most important civil rights films of our era. Bradley's film is an inspiring portrait of Sybil Fox Richardson, whose husband Rob was sentenced to 65 years in prison and served 18 for a failed robbery that was his first offense. Fox's battle for Rob's release turns her into a warrior for social justice, a fighter against mass incarceration and its persecution of African American families. Fox calls herself an abolitionist, tying our prison industrial complex directly to the history of American slavery. Beyond its subject matter, Garrett Bradley and her film time have earned the James Blue Award for the artfulness of her film's design, and especially the participatory involvement of its subject in the film's production. Much of the film is drawn from 18 years of mini DV tapes filmed by Fox and her family in order to share their home life and the children's growing up with Rob, who is in prison. James Blue was a pioneer in the participatory filmmaker public access movement, and he would have been immensely impressed with Bradley's co-creation of time with Fox, her subject. Garrett, I am really honored and pleased to present to you the James Blue Award and its cash prize for your magnificent film and for your future work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan, so much. I want to thank the Blue family and the Ashland Film Festival, to Richard and to all the programmers. And I think you guys have done an incredible job of standing up to the times and putting together an amazing festival. I'm honored to be here amongst so many other great filmmakers and films. And I also just want to say thank you for honoring the story. Fox worked 21 years to make sure that Rob was released. And I think this is a sickness that's taken over our country that's been here actually from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so thankful that we're creating spaces to talk about this and to talk about it from a feminist point of view, from a family's point of view. And I'm so grateful to you all. So thank you.
Now come two awards for narrative feature filmmaking. Best Cinematography and Best Narrative Feature.
Oh my God, I love cinematography!
What do you love about cinematography?
That you do it. I love you, Bruce.
Good, I appreciate that. You know how I would film you?
How?
Really underlit, really dark, like I could barely see you.
Yeah.
A sliver of light. We wouldn't even hear you either. But that's a sound award. The jurors for the Narrative Feature Awards were Kyle Greenberg is a film distributor, marketer, who recently launched the consulting label Circle Collective, and many more. Chris Homeland is Professor Emerita in Film at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Formerly, she was president of the Society for Cinema and Media Studies. Mika Kimoto is a co-president of KimStim, the New York-based art house film distribution company. Let's look at the narrative feature films in competition. The first Narrative Feature Awards honors the best cinematography in a narrative feature and is named after longtime Ashland resident and accomplished director of photography Gerald Hirschfeld, the photographer of Young Frankenstein and many other classics. The jury awards special recognition for excellence in narrative feature cinematography goes to Hassani Johnson's Takeout Girl. Here's what the jurors said.
Hassani Johnson's Takeout Girl, simply put, delivers a full meal. The ambitious indie thriller pops with South Central LA's colorful palette while capturing an original Chinese immigrant story infused with action and adventure. Special jury recognition for cinematography.
And the Gerald Hirschfeld Award for Best Narrative Feature Cinematography goes to Murmur by Heather Young. Here are the jurors' comments. Murmur is regional realism at its best. Expressive yet restrained, a reminder of how ably low-budget independent films inscribe stories that go overlooked, untold. In concert with director Heather Young and first-time actor Sean McDonald, cinematographer Jeff Wheaton makes the most of Murmur's tight 4.3 screen ratio, adeptly conveying an aging woman's isolation, alienation, well-intentioned caring, and love. Here to accept the award is the director, Heather Young. Hello, Heather.
Hello.
What made you decide to go with a mixed format? It's not 100% fiction, it's sort of documentary style. How did you get there?
That's a style that I began developing when I was working in the short form. It started kind of out of like a restraint of really not having a lot of money, not having a ton of resources. I knew I wasn't going to be making, Hollywood films with, well-known actors and, big special effects or anything like that. So working kind of within my budget range, I figured out, if I blended some of these elements, and one of them being working with non-actors, it really started to give some interesting authenticity to my work.
And now, is there anybody you got to say thanks to? Because we're sure that you probably called in a lot of favors.
Yes, well, firstly, of course, I want to thank Jeff Wheaton, who was my director of photography on this film. And it really excites me that the cinematography is being recognized because we had a very, very low budget and the camera department consisted of 2 people. It was just Jeff and one assistant, Keith Mitchell. So I want to thank both of them. And Jeff was really generous and worked with me a lot in pre-production to do a lot of planning. And he really encouraged me to be bold and to follow, my voice and what I wanted to do. So I'm very grateful to him. And also my producer, Martha Cooley, because the film obviously wouldn't have happened without her. And Shan McDonald, who was our lead. She'd never acted before, and she was amazing and really, really brave and just, gave it her all. So, those are some people that I'm very grateful to.
Well, I'm excited for you, and congratulations for this, and we can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Well, thank you so much. It's I wish I could be there in person, but it's nice to be here virtually as well.
Thank you for your time, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And now comes the jury's Special Recognition Award for Excellence in Narrative Feature Production. This goes to Happy Cleaners by Julian Kim and Peter S. Lee.
Now, I'm confused, Bruce. What is a narrative feature? Is that a movie with a narrator?
A narrative feature is a dramatic film that is scripted and tells a story. Silly, what did you think it was?
I thought it was a film with a narrator.
Well, you nailed it. Here's what the jury admired about the film.
Happy Cleaners tells the Korean-American immigrant story through an intimate family drama from the heart of Flushing, Queens. Although culturally specific, the film is remarkably relatable. Its themes are universal, and its depiction of the family's struggle is touching and heartfelt. And of course, there's the food.
Now, that same jury gave its top award for Best Narrative Feature to a film that was accepted into our April festival but was unable to screen in our virtual festival. The film is called I'm No Longer Here, and it just premiered on Netflix, where you can go check it out. Here's what the jury had to say. Writer-director Fernando Frias' I'm No Longer Here speaks with few words of the loneliness and precarity experienced by illegal immigrants who arrived in the U.S. with no English and little chance to work. Damian Garcia's exquisite cinematography shifts between the mountains and slums of Monterrey, Mexico, and the streets and rooftops of New York. We watch, riveted, as young Ulysses dances to the steady beat of slowed-down cumbia recordings, remembering the family, friends, and life he left behind in his flight from violence. Here to accept the award is director Fernando Frias and producer Gary Kim. Welcome, fellas. Welcome and congratulations. Now, thanks to our generous Kickstarter donations, you are one of only 2 feature directors not only getting this great award, but $4,000 in cash prizes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, tell us a little bit about this, this project of yours. How many years did it take to pull this off?
Well, this project has been quite a long ride. It took us all in all a little bit over 7 years, you know, and it's been a very long process, but very satisfying, and we couldn't be happier.
How did you put this together? Did you get money from someone that you knew, someone that you didn't know? Did you get a grant?
Well, we started with little by little, with small grants up until we finalized the screenplay, and then we applied for a Mexican Film Institute funding, and then we consolidated the project with Netflix, which right after we have already shot half of the film in Monterrey, came on board and helped us finalize the film, the New York part and the post-production.
So you showed them something that was incomplete to see if they would jump in?
Yes. Yeah, we showed them not only like something incomplete, we showed them only a teaser, you know, but they saw the footage, they liked what they saw, you know.
And we also pieced together grants from other institutions like Sundance, Cinereach, and San Francisco Film Society. They all helped us push us across the finish line as well.
I was going to say, along those lines, who else do you have to thank here? Because I'm sure making movies like this is tricky and you need a lot of help.
Definitely. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Ashland International Film Festival and the jury, and Richard and Erica. But also, of course, there's the list of thank you. It's great. It's very big. Like Jerry said, San Francisco Film Institute, Sundance. I don't know, Jerry, help me out here.
Well, I want to bring in also the other producers that we're accepting the award with, which is Alberto Muffelman, Geraldo Gatica, Bengala, and a bunch of other producers that helped us along the way. But just the communities themselves that just gave us their warmth and generosity in allowing us in Monterey and in Jackson Heights, Queens. But it was definitely a huge effort on many people's parts across two countries.
And you got it to Netflix. It's on Netflix. What's next?
Well, now it just started playing there a week ago. Exactly, today is its first week, and it's performing really well. We are overwhelmed with how the reception has been in Mexico and also here. We've been in the top 10 in both countries for the last week. It's been pretty amazing. But beyond that, you know, like the how far we can reach with Netflix right now. Also, it's a very special time, you know, because what we're living and everyone is in their houses and they're looking for, you know, I would imagine for a big variety of content. And apparently, as what I hear from Mexico, this has become something fresh and something that is been very well received. So I'm very thankful to Netflix because yes, like you say, it's a big deal, you know, it's a huge deal. We wouldn't have imagined the impact we're having. And next, you know, we are just like trying to be in this moment and then accepting this award and taking one message of congratulations after the other. And of course, there are other projects there, you know, like cooking, but you know, so far nothing very concrete.
And you know, there's many memes made about the film. There are like tons of memes circulating about the film, both in Mexico and the US.
Obviously making an impact. And so
I say that the moment it gets to the either, you know, like the bootleg DVD copies in Mexico or the memes, you know, you made a huge impact.
Well, congratulations, and we hope to see you back again at the Ashland Independent Film Festival again with your next project sometimes.
Thank you so much.
So
thank you very much.
Good luck. Congratulations, gentlemen. Our final special award is the Rogue Award, given to an independent filmmaker in mid-career whose work has made a profound impact on filmmakers and audiences. This year, AIFF is honoring the documentary filmmaker Renee Tajima-Peña. Renee's documentary films and her important new PBS series, Asian Americans, inspired AIFF to devote a section of its programming this year to Asian American independent filmmaking. Here to present the Rogue Award to Renee Tajima-Peña is AIFF Director Richard Herskowitz.
Thanks, Bruce. I'm thrilled to be giving this year's Rogue Award to Renee Tajima-Peña. Renee's been making important independent documentaries since her Academy Award-nominated debut feature, Who Killed Vincent Chin, which she co-directed with Christine Choi in 1987. That film's investigation of the political, racial, and economic undercurrents behind the murder of an Asian American engineer in Detroit has influenced many indie features since, including Down the Dark Stairwell, one of our titles this year. One of my favorite of Renee's films is the first of two classics we featured in our Renee Tajima-Peña weekend. It's her 1997 autobiographical road movie essay film, My America or Honk If You Love Buddha, in which she set out on what she called my search for Asian America. Renee is one of the pioneering independent filmmakers who carved out a place for Asian American filmmakers to search for and express Asian America on film. She did this in her own films and through writing and organizing. I first came to know of her in the 80s when she was a film critic for The Village Voice and later a cultural commentator for NPR. And she wrote and talked about, among many other things, the representation of Asian Americans on film. She also became a leader of organizations providing economic and institutional support to Asian American filmmakers. She was the first paid staff person and the first director at Asian Cinevision in New York and a founding member of the Center for Asian American Media. Now, working with Center for Asian American Media, she's produced a major 5-part PBS series called Asian Americans, playing right now on PBS Online about the history of Asian Americans and directed by Asian American independent filmmakers. I do want to add that Renee's scope is not limited to Asian America, and she's also made films about the Latin American experience through such titles as Calavera Highway, The New Americans, and the second film of hers we featured, No Mas Bebés. Renee, I've admired you for over 3 decades, since reading you in The Village Voice, showing many of your films at my theaters, and seeing the impact of organizations you've led. It's my honor to present to you the AIFF2020 Rogue Award.
Thanks so much, Richard. It's really meaningful for me because you were one of the first people to show Who Killed Vincent Chin, to program it. So I think we go back a little further than 30 years. Yeah. But, and when you told me I was getting the Rogue Award, I had no idea there was a geographic tie to it. So I thought, oh, this is so cool, because that's how I've always seen myself. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to, this was before Leela Lee made Angry Asian Girl, that comic of the little girl who is always in a rage and flipping the bird. But that was me when I was young, and I think that's when I first decided I wanted to be a filmmaker, because I was always just angry that we were invisible as Asian Americans on screen. And so, I've been really fortunate that all of my career I've been able to tell Asian American stories. So this is, wow. I wish I was there, though. Maybe someday.
Congratulations, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you.
The final jury awards go to the Best Documentary Feature and Documentary Feature Editing. The documentary jurors were Julie Gumpert, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Manager of Public Programming. Andrew Sherburne is the founder of the nonprofit Cinema Film Scene and a filmmaker whose most recent film, Saving Brinton from 2018, played at AIFF and was broadcast on PBS's America Reframed. Cynthia Wade is the director of the documentaries that have won over 50 film festival awards worldwide, including 2 at AIFF. Let's look at the documentary feature films in competition. The Best Documentary Editing Award goes to The Queen of Hearts, Audrey Flack, by Deborah Schaefer. The jury had this to say: "We unanimously award Queen of Hearts our award for Best Documentary Editing. This vivid portrait of 88-year-old contemporary artist Audrey Flack seamlessly weaves together intimate interviews and memorable verite scenes, creating an engaging narrative. The tightly constructed film captures Audrey's energy, curiosity, and vision, and is a joy to watch." Let's bring to the stage director Deborah Schaefer and co-director editor Rachel Reichman. Ladies, thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's always a relationship between a director and the cinematographer or the editor. Well, you're combining some things here. How did that come to be?
It actually evolved. We didn't start out that way. I started out directing the film and had done a good portion of the shooting when I brought Rachel in. We had worked together in the past on public television projects and some other things. And I remembered her as a fabulous editor, and I knew we had worked well together. And I brought her in to help me do a sort of trailer reel, a sample for fundraising. And this is the kind of film, like most documentaries, that required so much care and so much time and so much, the only way to put it is heavy lifting. And Rachel just threw herself into it. And it became quite obvious to me that, the work she was doing was above and beyond. She wasn't just cutting She was helping really shape the story. And it was brutally difficult at times. So, I'd say about halfway through the project, we both sort of had the thought at the same time.
So, Rachel, what do you have to say about that?
Well, everything that Deb said is true. Pretty accurate. It's not like I have a Rashomon different story, but I was very excited by this project, and I really did kind of hurl myself at it because there wasn't, we began in the conventional way of building it in a chronological order of Audrey's life. And there were several things. First of all, my background and Deb's background were a really good complement to each other, and they were different. I'd been more immersed in art, and Deb had been more immersed in politics. And she grew up more in that era and had different perspectives. And so it was a really good combination. That's definitely part of the thing that I became emphatic about in terms of the content of the work, which was a little bit beyond the editing in terms of co-directing. But in terms of editing, and I'll just speak to that, I'm just extremely happy that you guys were tuned into it, because I think that that's something Deb and I worked incredibly hard on. We tore the thing apart and put it back together over and over again. And it went from being an incredibly boring film to what we think is a pretty interesting film.
I'll tell you, editing is critical.
Because we didn't really have, we didn't really have a contract or a broadcast date, which would have been nice, but it gave us the luxury to do what we needed to do and to keep going and keep going and keep going till we got it.
Now that you've struggled with this project, what is next? What's up next?
Well, partly we're still working on this one in a way. It doesn't, it's about, I figure it's a good year after you finish a film on the festival circuit and getting it into distribution, trying to find a streaming or a broadcast outlet for it. And I have just never, for 40 years, been struggling with this. I'm never one of those people that can have like a couple of things going on at once, because I just get too involved. They take too much. I don't know. I just can't do it.
Well, good news for all of us, I guess. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on this award, and good luck to your future stuff.
Thank you. We're very grateful. Really, we really are very grateful and very proud of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard, and everybody out there.
Finally, we have our awards for Best Documentary Feature.
This award better go to one of your movies, Bruce. My Name is Bruce is the best documentary ever.
Yeah, My Name is Bruce was not a documentary. You thought it was real?
Well, I'm sorry. I still think you deserve the award.
For realism.
Yeah.
In motion picture.
Yes, sir.
Because you bought it. You bought the fact that I fed my dog whiskey out of the dog bowl.
That was my favorite part.
Oh, see, you're part of the problem, sir. Okay, here we go. First comes the special recognition our jury gave for documentary feature production to the film Akisita, The Battle of Standing Rock. That's another film that was scheduled for the April festival and couldn't participate in the virtual festival. We anticipate a special screening in Ashland later this year. Here's what the jury said.
We unanimously awarded Akachita with a special recognition prize for Best Documentary for its courageous and powerful filmmaking and its ability to shed light on the complex issues taking place during the protests at Standing Rock. With both sweeping vistas and deeply personal interviews, the film does an extraordinary job of capturing the spirit and culture of the young Native protesters at the heart of this movement.
And finally, our Les Blanc Award for Best Documentary Feature goes to a film that also received special recognition for documentary feature editing, Down a Dark Stairwell by Ursula Liang. I'll read the jury's statement. Ursula Liang's thoughtful and thorough examination of the aftermath of a tragic police shooting is an artfully constructed gut punch that exposes the many lives altered and destroyed by systemic racism. Compressing a story of incredible depth into a briskly moving feature, the film combines verite immediacy, courtroom reconstruction, and thoughtful reflection to examine structural racism and police brutality with delicate and even-handed precision. A remarkable achievement. We unanimously award the Les Blanc Award for Best Documentary to A Down a Dark Stairwell, along with our special recognition for its documentary feature editing. And now here to accept the award is the director herself, Ursula Liang. Ursula, you're going to be receiving $4,000 with this award, so congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to the jury. That statement kind of blows me away because it means that they really got the film we were trying to make, and it means that the film is going to get to have that impact that we hope that it makes.
And your timing is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I definitely want to acknowledge the moment and what kind of environment we're in. Definitely makes the film renewed and relevant again. And sadly, I feel like this is an issue we're going to be grappling with for a long time. And so we need these long form projects that keep coming out and keep audiences focused on these issues.
If you make a fictional movie, you got a lot of leeway there. But if you do documentary style, you got to toe the line, you got to tell the truth, you got to be real. So did that weigh on you, that necessity to not manipulate this more than it needed to be?
I mean, I definitely come from a background as a journalist, so I'm interested in truthfulness and journalistic practice and documentary. But I also watch a lot of these films that are scripted versions of documentary subjects, real life subjects, and I never think that the scripted version is more dramatic or crazy than real life. Some of these real life stories have all the elements. You don't need actors and other characters and script enhancement to make these stories compelling.
I'm the first one to admit you don't need actors. I mean,
get rid of them. Get rid of them.
I mean, you really don't. It makes sense, but you know, if you find a story that really snags you, I mean, that's really a great achievement. So, is the documentary style, is that something you're going to continue as a filmmaker?
I mean, I got to say the industry is really tough. We don't have a lot of coin in this side of the game, but you know, if there are ways that we can find a way to keep moving on, and if I can keep finding stories to tell, then I'm definitely going to stay in it for good. Okay, you got $4,000 to your name. What are you going to do with it? Well, we are in a moment where the entire industry is kind of shut down. So that potentially does a lot of things, but we are looking at using whatever funds we can raise to helping do outreach for the film and promote screenings in communities, bring the film to places where people are not going to access the film otherwise. So we're hoping that we can gather more momentum and more resourcefulness for our outreach. You obviously got a lot of help making this documentary. Who do you have to thank? Who do you owe a debt to? Well, beyond the jury, amazing jury, and the amazing staff at Ashland, I want to thank the audiences that chose to watch the film. And I also definitely want to thank my editors who got the second award that you offered to us this evening. Michelle Chang and Jason Harper, they worked as a team, and anyone who's watched the film will see sort of like the needle we're trying to thread. It was a very difficult film to edit, and I you know, in documentary, those are your real collaborators, and they're not just like, you know, taking different shots and takes. They're really like weaving a story together. And so without them, I don't think we could have made the film. So do you have plans for something new? Well, this is going to take a while to figure out how to release this film in this climate. I am working and developing some new projects, so I hope people will follow up on me and be ready to support my next project. I have nothing specifically ready to show you guys yet, but there's stuff bubbling.
Well, I hope that we'll see you again at this film festival in the future, and many congratulations.
I hope to see you in person. I hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, that would be nice too, but this is not a bad way to bring people together in a way that is acceptable. So congratulations, and I look forward to your next project.
I feel the love through the screen. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okie doke. Well, that's it for the jury and special awards and my part of the night. It's been a real pleasure to get out of the house and present these awards, but now it's time to get back home and stay socially distant from this guy. Yeah.
So much. You're incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, please. Oh, boy. Okay. That landed a safe distance away. Thank you very much. To finish up the night, let's go live to AIFF directors Richard Herskowitz and Erica Thompson, who will announce the audience award winners. And if you stick around, Inger Jorgensen and Jeff Pevar will be back to close the night.
Okay, thank you so much, Bruce, for doing such a great job for us tonight, in spite of your obnoxious fan and being such a great friend to AIFF. We're going to go on now and give the audience awards, which just came in. They were drawn from the ratings that we received through Film Festival Flix. All of you who watched the films and rated each film 1 to 5 stars, we compiled those. And we are now going to tell you the results. But before we do that, I just want to thank the key partners for me in pulling this program together, the group of programmers. There are actually 20 to 25 screeners who wade through the 1,000 submissions that come in, and then a group of 9 programmers who are at the top level helping me make the final decisions on what goes in the program. They include senior programmers John Stadelman and Ora Johnson, as well as the other programmers Laura Thielen and George Eldred, Amara Waterman, Nina Wayans, Aubrey Hollingshead, Susan Goldberg, and Jason Weinkoop. They helped select the films, and then the filmmakers were so grateful to be included, and then even more grateful when we told them that we had found a way to keep the festival going and become a virtual festival. So I want to thank all of them, awardees and non-awardees, for participating in this festival and in the Q&As we recorded over the last 3 weeks so that every show was accompanied by a Q&A.
We'd also like to thank our illustrious moderators who helped us in just a matter of 3 weeks pull together these Q&A sessions and helping us ensure that every program had a Q&A associated with it throughout this virtual festival. A big thanks goes out to Nataki Garrett, Octavio Solis, Precious Yamaguchi, B. Ruby Rich, Godfrey Cheshire, Emily Simon, Martin Jones, Phil Bussey, Chris Honlin, Susie Silver, and Chris Lucas. Thank you.
And now let's go on to our first award. Let's start with the winner for Best Documentary Short, and that film is A Fistful of Rubbish by Dave Regos. And I will turn it over now. Erica, why don't you just read us the synopsis of the film?
A Western environmental documentary, A Fistful of Rubbish, is set in the Tabernas Desert in Spain, Europe's only desert. An area famous for being the backdrop of many famous Western films, it is now sadly being trashed. But now, with the help of some locals, an English expat is forming a posse and taking things into his own hands, literally.
Okay, let's bring in Dave, who's here from Barcelona. Is that correct, Dave?
That's right. Yep, all the way from Spain.
Well, thank you so much for submitting to the festival and for being the best documentary short, according to our audience, which voted over the past 3 weeks. So anything you'd like to say? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, well, obviously, thank you to the festival, first of all, for pursuing this year and making it all happen. And, I know it's been a challenging time for everyone in the industry. So kudos to you guys for still putting on a great festival. So, and obviously thank you to everyone who watched the film and who obviously enjoyed it. And thanks for voting for it. It's a real honor, I think. And I guess I should also thank Jules, who is the sort of unexpected hero of the film, who really came up with this initiative, this grassroots initiative to clean up the Tabernas Desert. And my friends who helped me make this film, Tyler, who's an incredible cinematographer, and my friends Chris and Steve, who helped me edit the film. This was really a team effort to get this all up and running. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much again, and congratulations. Hopefully we'll bring you to Ashland sometime in the future.
I'd love to come back. I spent one glorious night there about 18 years ago, and it was a fantastic night. So I've got a lot of love for Ashland, even more now. So thank you.
Okay, Ashland loves you as well. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the Jim Teese Audience Award for Best Narrative Short, and the award is going to Sunday Dinner. Erica, why don't you read us the synopsis?
The loud, contentious siblings of the Castellano family maintain their tradition of macaroni and meatballs at Sunday dinner following the recent death of their parents. But when Don comes out as vegan, it sends his two brothers and sister-in-law into an offended spiral of confusion. What ensues is a battle of brother versus brother, tradition versus progression, meatballs versus quinoa.
And here we have, to accept the award, the director, Kevin Mead. Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
And we have the writer and lead actor, Don Finelli.
Hello.
Kevin, Don, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is so awesome. Very cool.
People loved your film. I loved your film. I'll just read you a couple of things that some of the screeners said about it. The dialogue and banter is quick, weird, and funny. Most of the characters feel natural and complex. And a couple of people mentioned this. The highlight of the film was the boyfriend's heartfelt speech about family and passion. It gave this short heart. So anything to say about the experience of making the film and bringing it to Ashland?
Take it away, Kevin. Do it up, buddy.
I just, I can remember very clearly that the day that the virtual festival started, it was the day that it really, the reality hit me that we were like, what we were going to be missing out on by not being able to do in-person festivals. And I thought it was so amazing that so many festivals, and yours obviously was like one of the first that we experienced to like get the virtual thing off the ground. So that's amazing. But it really hit me the day that the festival started that it's like, we're not going to be able to sit in a dark theater in the back of the room and watch people watch this movie. And it's like, we're missing one of the most important parts of the process, especially as young filmmakers. And I don't know, that was just a really sad day for me. And this, I don't know, I can't explain how gratifying this is to know that people actually watched it and really enjoyed it. And it's sort of, I don't know, it puts a cap on this very unusual and very kind of cool set of circumstances that we find ourselves in. And I thank you guys. It means a lot. It means more than I can figure out how to say right now. So thank you.
Yeah, such an impressive, just to Ashland, like, it was so impressive, the turnaround, the transparency, the support, just super impressive. I was really like, I was going to bring my family up for this festival, and we were really looking forward to it. But just like the turnaround and what you guys put together as quick as you did, it's just really amazing to get this out. So thank you, first of all. That is, it's a humbling experience to win something like this. We did not expect that. So, no. So thank you to everyone that watched and commented on it. That's very, very kind of you. Sorry for all the F-bombs. There were a lot. So anything's possible.
Well, again, thank you for coming to us virtually, and I hope we have a chance to bring you to Ashland with your future projects.
I appreciate it. We'd love to be there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, next we have the Varsity Audience Award for Best Narrative Feature, named, of course, after the Varsity Theater, which is the central hub of our normal live Ashland Independent Film Festival. It's owned by Coming Attractions Theaters, which was involved in the founding of our festival. And now that the Varsity is coming back, I hope all of you will be supporting and attending screenings there again. So for this Varsity Audience Award for Best Narrative Feature, the winner is Adam by Mariam Tuzani. I'm thrilled that this is a film that is distributed by Strand Releasing. It will be coming out nationally soon, and people loved it during our festival and gave it the Audience Award. The filmmaker Mariam Tuzani lives in Morocco, and we weren't able to reach her to present this award to her tonight. However, we did reach her to do a Q&A for our screening earlier in the festival. It was conducted by Laura Thielen, and here's a clip of Mariam Tuzani.
Absolutely. It was very important for me to keep this an intimate story, because this is really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what was happening within these women, what their fears were, what their demons were, how they were overcoming these fears, how they were apprehending them, how they were growing as well together and individually. So for me, it was above all a story that I wanted to tell from the inside, really to be able to penetrate the souls of these two characters. Of course, you have to understand what society they evolve in order to understand what makes them feel the way they feel and why they are acting the way they are.
Now we have the Rogue Creamery Audience Award for Best Documentary Feature, and the winner is of the film Public Trust. Erica, could you tell us about the film?
In a time of growing polarization, Americans still share something in common: 640 million acres of public land. Held in trust by the federal government for all citizens of the United States, these places are a stronghold against climate change, sacred to Native people, home to wildlife, and intrinsic to our national identity. But today, despite support from voters across the political spectrum, they face unprecedented threats from extractive industries and the politicians in their pockets. Part love letter, part political expose, Public Trust investigates how we arrived at this precarious moment through 3 heated conflicts: a national monument in the Utah desert, a proposed mine in the Boundary Waters, and oil drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and makes a case for their continued protection.
So we have here to accept the award the director of the film, David Byers. David, I'm very happy that we have you here virtually. I'm also very happy that we were able to bring you to Ashland a couple of years ago for World Film Week with your previous feature, No Man's Land. So congratulations.
Hey, thank you guys so much. And I understand there's a lifetime supply of blue cheese in this award for me. Is that correct?
As soon as you come back to Ashland, we'll take you to Rogue Creamery.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. I enjoyed being in Ashland for the World Film Week with No Man's Land several years ago. You guys have such a fantastic film community there. Everyone's super thoughtful and very, very welcoming. And I'm just so happy to win this award. Feel very honored. And I want to thank everyone who watched the film and everyone who voted and everyone who watched the film, even if you didn't vote for it. But also I want to thank, my producer, Jeremy Rubing. This is very much his film as well. I want to thank all of our characters in the film, Angela Baca, Hal Herring, Bernadette Demintjeff, and I want to thank Patagonia for funding this very early on when it was little more than a Word document with a couple of ideas on it. So I definitely want to thank them as well. And also I want to thank all the people, all the public lands owners out there in America. There's 640 million acres of public lands out there. And I think right now it's great to have something that we all hold in common. We need to remember that and be very inclusive in our enjoyment of our public lands and encourage others to be inclusive as well. So I want to encourage that and thank everyone.
Well, thanks for making such an inspiring film, David, and please come back with your next feature.
I absolutely will.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Now for the final audience award. This is a brand new award we've never given before, but we intend to keep giving in the future. It's the Best Local Short Award, and we're naming the award the Lee Fuchsman Award. And that's because Lee Fuchsman, who was a vice president of Coming Attractions Theaters, was just one of the greatest friends this festival ever had, and just a great friend to cinephiles throughout this region. She worked for Coming Attractions Theaters, booked their films, oversaw the Varsity and other theaters, and just constantly came through for the film festival in ways way beyond the call of duty. And she passed away a few months ago. I miss her terribly, and very pleased that we can do something to help keep her memory alive through this annual award, appropriately for the Best Local Short Film. Erica, maybe you can tell us something about the winner of this short film, and the film itself is called Way to Go. Erica?
Way to Go tells the story of Mount Shasta's Sun Power composting toilet and the local volunteers who maintain it, keeping poop invisible and sweet at 7,900 feet. Shot on location, Way to Go brings whimsy to an environmental threat we don't like to think about, which is human waste. So, Kathy, you've had a number of films in our festival over the years, beloved local filmmaker, and I know you're also involved with the local Ollie class that takes a look at the film festival. Do you care to share a little bit about what that's all about?
Well, I love that Ollie class. It was started by Lorraine Vale, who has become a good friend, and she appreciated that a lot of the local seniors, shall I say, we're having trouble negotiating the film festival process of, and making choices about films. So she took that on to work with the directors of the film festival to make, select films for them to watch, and then went ahead and made arrangements for the tickets and just streamlined the process. And I think it's been about 5 years, Richard. Is that about right? 5-6 years?
Yeah, before I came, and this is my 5th, so I think it started just before.
Yeah, I think about 6 years. And so she initially worked with another local person, and then she and I teamed up about 4 years ago, and I love the class because I'm able to speak to what the films are like from a filmmaker's perspective. So I really focus on, if you will, the light and sound of the film, the essence of the film as my contribution to the class. And I love doing it.
So tell us about Way to Go, Kathy, which I could just tell from comments I've been hearing from people, this has been the most popular of the short films, and well-deserved award to you.
When you say that, I just get such a thrill because that film is so dear to my heart. I lived in the Mount Shasta area for 18 years before I moved here. I loved the mountain. I spent a lot of time there. And to be able to create a film that focuses on a sort of unusual topic, right? A composting toilet. It really was a fun way to go into how important it is to take care of our wilderness environments. And I was able to work with some of my dear friends who happen to be the folks that really are responsible for keeping that toilet going. It's 2 miles from the road. It's not your typical location for a composting toilet. We believe it's the highest functioning composting toilet in the United States. And so that would be Linda and Rip Chitwood. And so it was just so much fun to work with a local crew down there from Mount Shasta. Pusher were friends of mine from when they were teenagers. They're now young men who run a video company locally. So it just was a coming together of so many pieces of my past, and then to be able to show it in your festival which has just been, what an amazing feat to pull off an online festival so quickly. And I really am so grateful to you guys. And I just couldn't be more thrilled to have won this award. Just like, oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
So that's it for our audience awards and actually all of our award presentations tonight. I want to thank the Digital Media Center for providing the facility for us to present this awards presentation, and its director, Brandon Givens, and also Jason Weinkoop, who edited tonight's programs and all the bumpers and trailers that you saw preceding our screenings throughout the festival. I want to thank our board, led by Stephen Sloan, who is retiring now after 2 years as president of our board, although he'll be staying on as an emeritus board member. Carol Jensen, Ann Ashby, Tim Johns, Craig Gordon, David Griffiths, Marty Rosen, and Chris Lucas. Thank you all for all the support you gave us as a staff to make this pivot and pull off this virtual festival.
And I would like to take an opportunity to acknowledge our incredible staff who was already putting all their energy barreling toward preparing for the live festival, and then made this incredible pivot right in the middle of everything and worked so hard the last few months to pull this together and pull this off. Just want to acknowledge all of them: Candace Turtle, Leah Halpert, Molly Kruzman, Linnea William, Susan Elshire, Susanna Cole, and Jana Carroll. Thank you all so much. It's been such a pleasure to make this incredible thing all come together in the midst of everything with all of you. And I also want to thank our volunteers, both the incredible group of people who pledged to volunteer at our live festival, and even when we didn't need them in this virtual festival, a handful of volunteers that also came forward to help with certain aspects of the virtual festival. We just are always feeling the support of our community in making these changes, and we're grateful for that.
Now we can close tonight's award presentation with a final music performance from Inger Jorgensen and Jeff Pevar. So take it away, Jeff and Inger.
Thank you so much, Richard and Erica. It's been such a pleasure to be here tonight and witness all the greatness. We are just so grateful. So,
what an amazing festival. I mean, the films were just incredible.
yes, we watched so many features, and we were so appreciative. This is an original song, and we wrote it a number of years ago. It's about the arts in our life. It's called Groove Sensation.
And this is also on our new CD, Anthem.
I love the taste of music when it drips from the air. It runs between my fingers into the roots of my hair. When my soul moves in the beat, the fire of life burns inside. Like the ocean and its taunting song, music moves me with the tides. I want to live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate and deep red wine, I taste the groove sensation. Live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate and deep red wine, taste the groove sensation. Music weaves an invisible web through every fiber of my being, takes me places I wanna go. It's closing in and freeing. If you know music, it's like my love. It moves you far away. Get the groove, I'm riding high like a child in play. I want to live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate in deep red wine, I taste the groove sensation. Live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate and deep red wine, taste the groove sensation. Dance with me, I'll take you higher. Let music be the guide. If you want to groove with me, join the choir. Don't you hide inside. I love the taste of music when it drips from the air. It runs between my fingers and into the roots of my hair. I want to live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate and deep red wine, I taste the groove sensation. Live in music, breathe in music, know the good vibration. Like dark chocolate and deep red wine, taste the groove sensation. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening and good night.
Thanks for having us, everybody. Take care now.